Hi, welcome. I have a lovely little presentation for you today. It's about emotional regulation. If you've watched my other videos, you'll have a little idea about what I mean. This is very much a practical walk through the process that will help you become emotionally regulated. My name is Bibi Eastwood. I am a life coach, a holistic personal trainer, and a hypnotherapist. And I combine these skills to create processes and strategies to help you become your healthiest self. That includes, of course, emotional well-being. So this little presentation is going to show you the process of emotional regulation. Right? Often we look at a lot of videos. Gabor Mate, who I love, a lot of people can explain the theories and concepts which I think we all resonate with. This is a much more practical look at how would you emotionally regulate yourself. So I'm going to go to screen share. Here we are. Oh, there we go. Right. And yes. Okay. So an overview of how to heal and change. So if you are interested in this topic, you will have very likely gone through something traumatic. It could be a breakup, a divorce, a tragedy, an illness, being fired at work. There's many things that could cause yourself to be emotionally dysregulated. That basically means that you are feeling very reactive emotionally to people or situations, and you're having big waves of emotions. Suddenly you're up and then you're down. You can't get out of that being down, and then you're angry. And so you're kind of flip-flopping around with your emotions. So we have here, let's get into it, 4 pillars of healing. This is proposed really by Dr. Sam Vaknin. You can Google him. He's a prolific psychologist and loads of great stuff. He proposes these 4 pillars. So I'm going to briefly explain what they are. So we start here, you can see, with self-awareness. So with self-awareness, you'll be looking at your past patterns, repetitive mistakes, repetitive painful situations, and beginning to be more aware of how you have participated in those cycles. Okay, so it's not to apportion blame, it's only to realize what part you are playing. So with self-awareness, we move into self-acceptance. Self-acceptance can be quite tricky, and this is where usually quite a lot of guidance and support is needed. And that's because as you become more aware and begin taking more responsibility for the patterns you've participated in, you have to face things about yourself that you don't like. And that's where the self-acceptance is very important and requires, like I've already said, guidance and support. Self-forgiveness is part of that, and cultivating love for yourself. Okay, our self-esteem can take a real knock after painful episodes. And so the self-acceptance is a very important step, and cultivating love for yourself as well. Right, this moves us into self-trust. You can see there that at this stage, you require a little faith to move forward and trust yourself, and courage. Okay, when you are looking at your past patterns of pain and taking responsibility, part of that process is realizing your vulnerability, and that to go forward in life, you know, in the past, if you've had a certain decision-making process that's resulted in pain, then your ability to trust yourself is going to be compromised. Now, I have to assure you at this point that as you are healing and doing these other steps and other pillars, that you will begin to trust yourself again as emotional regulation settles into you and you begin to reflect and understand yourself better. The self-trust does go up. And that little bit of faith and that little bit of courage then takes you into the next part, which is self-efficacy. All that means is acting in your own best interest. Okay, very often, again, if you're watching this, you'll likely have had a history of putting your own needs to the back or minimizing your own experience, etc., etc. So this is really where we look at self-care, and also where your boundaries increase and you become also very much clearer about your own boundaries. You have to be emotionally well regulated to have boundaries. Okay, and that's a clue for you why manipulative people cause you to be emotionally imbalanced, because then your boundaries tend to suffer. So your boundaries get better, your self-care increases. So those are the 4 pillars, very briefly, right? Moving on. As you can see here on this slide, got heal in the middle. And there I say all of this is designed to work on your nervous system and your subconscious. You're probably aware at this stage, if you like watching YouTube videos, that your subconscious is a huge part of how you live your day. And it's got all these programs running. And you often don't think about them. You will become more aware of them through that self-awareness process. And in order to work with your subconscious, we have to also work with the nervous system. Okay, the body really is an extension of the unconscious mind or subconscious mind as well. So working with the body is an integral part of the healing. So here we go. In the healing, you must be emotionally regulated. That is the number 1 goal. Okay, and we introduce journaling. So the journaling is a very important part, and you'll see this throughout the process, right? Then we move into self-soothing. I have a video on that. It's a little snippet about what you do when the big emotional wave comes. Okay, so when you get triggered by something, I don't know, maybe you've seen your ex's mother-in-law at the shops, and this causes a whole ruckus internally. You cannot explore safely and learn and reflect. So when you're in the grip of that emotional wave, you need to learn how to self-soothe. You need to learn how to lovingly hold space for yourself until that emotional wave subsides. And then when you're in a quiet, calm, more peaceful state, at that point, you go into reflection. And this is where the journaling comes up again. So the reflection is a series of questions that you will learn, and you'll be able to apply those to other people. Even when you want to be discerning about other people being in your life, you will have a whole bunch of questions that you can use, and you'll get used to using them, that they'll almost become also unconscious. They'll just be part of how you assess the world around you. So that's also done in the journaling. Okay, here we go. We start to integrate now. Step 4 is integration. This is where breath work comes in. As you can see, there's so many different kinds of breath work. Okay, so I guide people to find the breath work that is most helpful to them. But this is, again, where you start to communicate more with the body, so that you are embodying the changes that you are learning in the journaling work. Now, briefly, and I meant to mention this earlier, with journaling, what's important about it is that you are slowing everything down. So our thoughts are quick. To be able to write down, you have to slow down to be able to write. And you are creating a visual. So often our thoughts can just get lost in this ether, in this thinking machine. And we need to be able to almost create a record of what's going on up here. So that's what the journaling is for, and it gives you the material for the reflection. So when we are now taking that learning from the reflection, we integrate that learning by using the breath. So the breath is the mechanism for integrating it and embodying it. So it goes deeper into the mind, and that is basically the subconscious. Okay, and then next little bit is regular practice. This must be habitual. So journaling, reflecting, using breath work will become part of your day. Your daily life will often include this. Okay, and then very last is the tiny action steps. So you will build for yourself little daily action steps. It might just be 1, it might be up to 5 or 6. But when you're doing this work and now you're coming into the self-efficacy, yes, and behaving and taking steps towards your own self-interest, the tiny steps are really important. As you're moving forward, you are building courage to move forward for yourself, and so on and so forth. So the tiny action steps, it will start to become part of your daily life. And those steps will actually get bigger over time. When you're starting out, even the tiniest act sometimes in your own best interest is like doing a marathon. Okay, so tiny steps reduces the overwhelm, and it gets you moving on the path of healing and moving. That's what we need you to do, is move forward in life. So those tiny action steps are part of that 4th pillar. Okay, right. So, oh, I love this image. Yes. So the inner and outer world. I'm going to demonstrate this for you now. Think about, or can you remember the color of the first pair of shoes that you wore when you were a little child? You know, you really have to go back through your memory bank. Yes, and maybe a picture comes up. But whatever that picture is, or however you've sifted through your brain, a series of images will have come up. That is your inner world. How you have stored and memorized your past experiences will come up with images, sounds, feelings. That is your inner world. And when you have harmony in the inner world through all the self-awareness and practice that you do in the steps I've just shown you, then you have this balance with the outer world, your environment, the people you come across, the sunshine, the music, the things that happen. There's this balance and this beautiful dance between the inner world and the outer world. Okay, that's not to say that horrible things don't happen in the outer world, but this core balance and strength that you find in yourself means that you hold harmony whilst everything about you is moving around chaotically. So there's a balance there between the inner and outer world. Okay, and just to sum some of this up, healing means new skills. Okay, not doing things how you did before. So new skills. New skills lead to new habits and behaviors. New habits and behaviors lead to a more authentic you. Like I said, there's boundaries get better. This means you hold your authentic self consistently across situations. And when you are a more authentic you, nice picture again, you have much more peace, fulfillment, and joy. Okay, the learning and awareness of who you are and your internal processing and what makes you happy, when you need to rest, when it's enough for you, when you need to seek out connection with others, when you need to be alone, all of the stuff you are managing, your inner resources and energy and your self-love, and the peace, fulfillment, and joy just goes up and more. Okay, your relationships get better. Your ability to pursue a life that you want improves. So as a final slide here, this is just a nice visual. Again, we're such visual creatures. When you work through the 4 pillars of healing in the ways that I've described, that's your how, and you have your consistency over time, that as a process equals the healing transformation. Okay, so before you came here, you were the caterpillar, doing the process that I've described, 4 pillars of healing plus consistency over time. That's the process. That's you in the chrysalis. You will come out the other side having had a healing transformation. So you will be that butterfly. And I'm here to help you with that chrysalis period. It can take anywhere from about 12 weeks, 3 months, to sometimes up to 2 years, depending on what you've been through and your level of trauma and support that you have around you, the resources. So I cannot guarantee you a time, but I would say that at least a 3-month focus in the ways that I have shown you and explained in this video will be what you need to really focus on your own life and your own healing and your emotional regulation. So if you are interested, then look in the link below. There is my email address. You may contact me, and I will let you know when the next courses are available. Thank you for watching. Bye.